All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass around the sign-in sheet. Make sure you get your name on it and pass it to someone who hasn't signed. And then last time we went over the Unreal Engine stuff, we took a look at building just kind of a simple block out of some rooms and connecting them. Do you need a pencil? There's one back by the printer. That's where my pencil got put last time, I think. So we talked about building, using the shapes in order to build rooms and then how to connect them. And today we're going to look at materials. So let me go into our lessons. And this is week 13. There's only 16 weeks in the semester, so we're getting there. So we're going to talk about Unreal. We'll go over some interface elements and some tools. And this week, your IBM certification is Present with Purpose. And then make sure that you do the discussion board as well. And so the discussion board this week, well, I'll wait. We'll get to that in just a moment. And the lab we're working on, it's a 2-week lab. So we just finished the first week, and now we're doing the second week of this Unreal Advanced Lab 10. And we're just getting used to the interface, doing basic tasks in Unreal Engine, creation of geometry via brushes. That's what we worked on last week. And then basic light usage, creation of materials, and then static meshes. And so we're going to learn some of those things today as well. So, and then I do have some links down here for you to take a look at during the week if you've not looked at them already. Make sure that you look at Unreal documentation, lighting, materials, category, materials setup, and then static mesh actors. These are just reinforcing things that we're going over in the classroom. So you can take a look at those, especially these material things. They're actually, I think they're pretty interesting, to be perfectly honest. So anyway, those are the links. And then here's our Dropbox for this week, Unreal Advanced. Like I said, it's 2 weeks, and we're into the second week now. So it's due Tuesday, November 15th, and that's by midnight. So get it in by next Tuesday, midnight. You even get an extra day to work on stuff this week because there is no school for y'all tomorrow for anything. No classes tomorrow. Thursday the 10th, it's a teacher work day. And then school is closed on Friday as well. So just be aware of that. So these 2 days are you don't have to come to school. So, and then if you check out the calendar, I prefer, let's see, I go to academics, and then I apply it. Maybe apply. Oh, there it is. Still applying. And then I like to see it from the month view. And so here we are. So tomorrow is a teacher work day, and then the college is closed. And then so anyway, those 2 days. So you get off the next 2 days. So you guys get a 4-day weekend. And new student class registrations. So that's not y'all. Y'all have already been able to register during this past week. And so classes are starting to fill up. So if you've not registered for classes, make sure that you go see your advisor, contact them, and just double check on the classes you should be signing up for the spring, and then get signed up for those classes. So do that because they are starting to fill up. And that's pretty much our schedule lately. So we're going to finish up the lab this week. I've got some things we're going to go over. We're going to go over materials, static meshes. I'm going to show you how to add a collision on there. And we'll talk about what a light mass importance volume is, because that's a really huge term. And it's like, what in the world is a light mass importance volume? And then I just like you to add lots of meshes to your levels. Just add lots and lots of meshes. So anyway, and then this week, the IBM certification turn-in is, there's one more that'll pop up here. And so soft hard skills lecture. And anyway, and so, oh, here it is, Avon. The completion of all these is worth 5% of your grade. So, all right. So anyway, those are the drop boxes, collaboration. right here. So this week is Intro to Unreal Engine discussion. So you've got some questions that you need to answer. Last week, only 5 of you responded to the discussion board. And so you need to make sure that everybody responds to that. I think there's 10 of us in class, so let's make sure that everybody is on the discussion board. And remember that that also counts for your attendance on our online day. So this week, anyway, the initial post is due by Friday, November 11th, and then the next post is due by Tuesday at midnight. So your 2 responses. So make sure you get those in. And then there's no quiz or exam this week. So anyway, all right. So that's what we're doing this week. So let's go ahead and get into the Unreal Engine. So I'm going to go ahead and open Unreal Engine, and I always open mine through the launcher. You can open it through, whatever. You can open it just by clicking on the other link in there. And so, but I always do it by opening the launcher. And that way, when I open the launcher, I get to see all the latest, greatest, cool stuff that they're doing with the Unreal Engine. I get to see any things that they're highlighting. Look, they're highlighting Goat Simulator 3. So, in Fortnite. That's pretty awesome. So, they always open up to the store, I guess because that's the thing where you spend money. And maybe they just want you to spend money there. But I always go into the Unreal Engine because that's the stuff that we use in our class. So anyway, and they always have the interesting things here. So the Unreal Fest was a week or 2 ago, and it looks like now they're going to show you some stuff. Is it live this week? Okay. Anyway. And then you can just take a look at, like I said, featured content and things that people are doing in the Unreal Engine. So I kind of like always going here and just checking out what people are doing. And when you're off for Christmas, here's something that might interest some of you that you can do over Christmas when you have a little bit more time, is that you can use reality capture to scan yourself for mesh to metahuman, okay? Meaning, you can take your cell phone and take a picture of your face, and you can put it on one of the metahumans in the metahuman plugin. And then you can put yourself into a video game or into your level. How cool is that? So anyway, you can do, I don't know how far you can get. I haven't done it yet. I was going to wait till Christmas also to do it. And they said there is a paid portion of it. Like you can do it so far, and then at some point, I don't know, you have to pay for it, and I don't know what that point is. But anyway, I think that'd be really cool to scan yourself and put your own face into on a avatar, and then you are actually playing in the video game. So it's kind of cool. So and don't forget to download the free marketplace stuff for November. So you go into Marketplace and then go to free for the month. And so if you've not downloaded the free stuff for the month, you can tell because it'll say owned right there. Oh, they gave us 6 free ones for this month. Normally they give 5 free ones. So this month we get 6 free things for this month. And so go ahead and make sure that you get those. And I'm going to show you probably what I think is the best way to take the stuff that's in here and put it into your level. So anyway, everybody go ahead and at least like the clothing and shoe store and the loft office, go ahead and get them all. It doesn't hurt anything. They're free. And so just click on download or whatever the thing. Now it says write a review there, but because we're going to use 1 or 2 of these today. All right. Then I can go into my library, which tells all the stuff that I've done recently. But on these computers, I actually may need to just open it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and launch. And again, if they update from 5.0.3, don't do it. Just leave it at 5.0. Now, if they go to 0.5, like 5.0, 0.567, whatever, that's okay. That third number, it's okay to upgrade to that. Just don't upgrade from 5.0. If they come out with 5.1 while we're still in class this semester, and you upgrade to it and you work at home, your file, you won't be able to bring it in here and use it. They're not backwards compatible like that. They are forward compatible, they're not backward compatible. So just be aware of that. So, all right, I'm going to go into here, my first AM project. It'll pop open in just a moment. All right, there we go. Now, did you notice that it came up, but it didn't come up to my to my level. Okay? So where's my level? Here's my third person map. Where's my, did I do the right one? My first AM project? Oh yeah, 11 a.m. That's you guys. So I'm gonna double click this. Notice it did not come up to the level that I wanted. It came up to this level, third person map. It didn't come up to third person map underscore 11 a.m. How do you get it to come up to this? The way to do that is when you go into project settings. So I'm going into edit, project settings, and then you have to click on maps and modes, and then right here, the editor startup map. And so it currently says third person map, but that's not the map I want to open when I start Unreal. I'd like it to start with third person map 11 a.m. That's the map that I did for this class. And I usually do this game default map as well. I do them both. And so, but this is the one that starts in the editor right there. So, and then you don't have to save anything here. You can just close out of project settings. Don't X out up here in the upper right corner. It closes the entire Unreal. I can't tell you how many times I've done that by accident. But now, hopefully I've learned my lesson that I'm just closing the tab. Close. So now when I go into third person map 11 a.m., it brings it up, and then the next time when I come in next Wednesday, it should come up to this level, okay? It should come up to this level. All right, now we've got this far, and we've learned how to do these things. We've learned how to use our BSP brushes, which are additive brushes. We've learned how to hollow them out so that when I go inside, I can see the interior. And we've also learned how to use subtractive brushes. And they give us a little bit of thickness right there, but they create windows and doorways and all sorts of stuff. And they'll create doors to hallways so I can come through here as well. All right. Now we've also learned how to add materials to these. And so we've literally, let me go ahead and dock this. So we've literally taken materials that already exist, and there's some materials, and then we basically just click and drag. So I click, drag, and just drop, boom, and it puts materials on there. So I'm going to do that for all of these, and did that do it? That did it. So, all right. And then if I discover that here's my grass, and this grass material is huge. So if I hit play, and my player is out here, my player looks tiny because that grass is so large. In fact, it doesn't even look like grass. And so maybe over here, maybe over here it does a little bit. But let's tone down the grass material that's here. And I didn't realize that wasn't grass there, so I'm going to throw something else on that. Maybe I'll throw some, whatever that is, concrete on there, just to separate it. So I would like my grass material to be a little bit more grassy looking and have it be smaller texture or more tiled or something. The way we do that, here's my material right here. As you can see, it's that ground grass that I threw on it. So I'm going to double click it to open it. All right, and here it is. And I'm going to take a look at all this. Wow, they really did a lot to get this looking grassy right here. They did a lot of things here. So they did a lot of this. All right, there's a couple different places where I can change things on here. So you can see they did grass. They've got a grass picture here, which base color texture sample. And then there's this thing called texture coordinates, or a text coord. If we select text coord, then over here it changes the tiling, or it gives us the opportunity to change the tiling on it. And we do have to be careful because it can affect everything else that's all the way down the pipeline here, all the way to the main material node there. And it may even affect things like this little noise texture right here. And here's another grass texture sample. So I kind of need to be careful and check out what these are. And so that one's 0.05, this one's 1. What is this one? This one's 0.5. But the one that basically I'm looking for is the one that goes into this base color. And so I'm just going to follow first the A channel up here and all the way up to the top here. And so I'm going to take this and I'm going to start making changes here. But what I'd really like to do is I'm going to find the one that's got the grass texture first, and here it is. So let's take this one and let's multiply it by like 10. So I'm going to put 10 times 0.5 is just 5. So I'm going to go 5 on the U tiling. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, my num lock isn't on. So 5 for the U tiling and then 5 for the V tiling. And let's see what that does to it. Already it makes it much smaller in there. How does that affect my grass? Well, I forgot to hit save. So I'm going to hit save and watch what it does to my grass in the background there. Let's see. All right, already it looks way more realistic than it did before. And so that may be, in this case, all I need to do for that. And I may not need to do any more. So how do I grab it? There it is. I may not need to do any more. Sometimes you just have to play it to tell. So I'm going to dock this up there, go back, and I'm going to hit play. And let's see how it looks with my player. Yeah, the grass looks a lot more realistic now. And so picture-wise, it's not that big, huge grass, and I'm kind of happy with it. So, you know, just for the sense of what we're doing today, we're just learning, we're doing an introduction here to materials. I'm just going to leave that. I kind of like it. I could probably make it even a little bit smaller if I wanted to. Maybe I could go to like 15. Let me just try that. Sometimes I get too picky about these things. And so I'll go into my ground grass and not 15. I'll just add like maybe, I'll go to 8. And then once again, I'll save and we'll see how that looks. Now, one other thing, I did this to my, let's find it, to my base color. Let's see if there's also a map of this in the normal channel that I also need to change. There it is right there. And is it already hooked up? It's already hooked up to there, so we're good. It also changed my normal map at the same rate that it changed the tiling of the image. You can see that they're hooked up here. This one is hooked up to that one. And that's what I was checking to make sure. So, all right, I'm going to hit save again. And it looks saved, so we're going back and hit play again. Let's check our materials one more time. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot. So it just changed it a little bit, but my grass is looking pretty good. It looks way more realistic now, so I'm pretty happy with that. So, all right, so that's grass. Now, let's take a look at just adding color, like creating a material and adding color. Have we taken a look at that yet? Remind me. I don't think so. All right, let's do that. So let's open up our material editor. By the way, I'm going to close my grass because I'm done with that. Let's open up our content browser, so control space. And then I want to dock it here. So I'm just going to say dock in layout and then pull it down a little bit. And just so I can find things easy, I'm going to put a little folder in here. And I'm just going to put my name on it. So I'm going to right click and then say new folder. And I'm just going to put my name on it so I know it's mine, underscore, and then I'll type in assets. So any new assets that I create or that I bring in or things like that, I'm going to put them in my Brad Assets folder. And then I'll double click it to get in there. And again, we created a new folder by just right clicking in here and going to new folder. So that's what we did. All right, let's create our first material. And let's just add a color to it, because instead of this gray checkerboard here, let's just put a color on something. So I'm going to right click in my content browser, and we want to create a new material. So I'm just going to go up there and I'm going to click material. Let's give it a name. Whatever color you want to make it. I'm going to make mine like purple underscore matte. So you can make it brown, you can make it blue, whatever you want to make it. All right, so purple material. Well, it doesn't look purple to me. It looks gray checkerboard. Let's fix that. Let's double click it to open it up. And here's our material node, our main material node. You notice it's highlighted because it's outlined in orange. And we don't have anything going into the base color, which means it's just this kind of gray metallic. It's a very neutral material right now. Let's add something that'll help us to give it a color, okay? The way we do that is over here in the palette. If you click on your palette, you'll see all these different nodes. There's literally hundreds of them. And right now you're like, how do I ever know which one that it's going to create color? I see color here, and I see, other things with color, but it's actually not the word color that we're looking for. We're going to add this thing called a constant 3 vector. Constant 3 vector. And here's the keyboard shortcut for it. So I could just press the 3 key and or hold the 3 key and click, and it brings up a constant 3 vector. It's called 3 because it has 3 channels. What do you think those 3 channels are? We're dealing with color.
RGB.
Red, green, blue. That's right. Absolutely. That is correct. So 3 channels, and then with it selected, you'll notice that my node is not selected anymore, but now this constant 3 vector is selected. Over here in my details, now gives me the details for the thing I have selected. So let's take a look now. I'm going to go down into constant, and you can see there's my red, green, and blue channels. And I think they run from 0 to 1. And just for your little historical knowledge, colors used to run from 0 to 255 because there was 256 varieties of red, 256 of green, 256 of blue. But now Unreal's decided they want to do it, I guess, digitally from 0 to 1. So if I want 100% red color, I'm just going to type the number 1 in there and press enter. Okay? That's 100% red. The other channels are still at 0%. So 100% is 1.0. It's not 100. If you put 100 in there, that's like 10,000%. Okay? So the number 1 is 100%. All right, so just choose a color. Now, if you're like, how do I make purple? I know that red and blue make purple, but what if I just want to do it visually? So this little color bar right here, if you just click that color bar, it brings up your color picker. And then I can just click and drag wherever I want, and then just get the purple color you want, or whatever color you want. You choose your own color. You got millions of colors. You've got like 16.9 million colors to choose from here. So you can do it several ways. You can adjust the red color bar here. You can adjust the green color bar. You can adjust the blue color bar. You can adjust the HSV. Do you know what HSV stands for? Oh, does it tell? Yeah, it does. Yeah, hue, saturation, and value. Okay? So you can adjust RGB or HSV, or again, you can just click and drag. And this tells you the old color, and this tells you the new color that you're selecting in there. So whatever color you want. I want mine a little darker. There we go. You can even sample colors that already exist as well. So you get your little sample eyedropper there and sample colors. If you've got an image and you just want to sample from that, you can do that. But when I'm done, I'll just click OK. And now it'll come up as purple. And I kind of like that. So I'm going to connect it with my output there to the input of the base color. Click, drag, and then drop it on your base color. So now you see that my little color swatch over here turned purple. I like that, so I'm going to save. And if I want to keep that, I'll throw that tab up there. I'll dock it at the top. And now I want to make this box here purple, so I'm just going to, in my material editor or in my content browser, I'll just click, drag it over here, and just drop it right on this thing. So that's how you make a color material. Okay, a color material. All right, very good. So let's take the next step. How do I make a material with a texture on it? How do I make a material with a texture? Let's go find a material. Let's not use one that's already here. Let's just go find one. And I'm going to encourage you all to get a login on this website called textures.com. If you go to textures.com. Did we already talk about textures.com?
Yes.
Did we? Awesome. Okay, good. So I'm going to log in. I tell it to my level design classes too, so I apologize. Sometimes I forget if I tell you guys or I tell them. So I'm going to log into my textures.com. And I'm just going to look for a texture. I don't know, I just want a brick texture. So I'll type in a search in here. I'm just going to type in, I don't know, brick and see what comes up. Like tons of stuff comes up. Ooh, I really like these industrial bricks. So, and I also like those yellow, oh, that's brick pavement. I want industrial bricks because they have, to me, they have more character. So I really like that. All right, so here's my bricks. So I'm going to grab this one. It's free, a 512 by 512. I'm going to download it. And let's also get the normal map. Let's not worry about the height map or the roughness. Let's just focus on the albedo, which is also called the color or the diffuse map. So there's different terms for this: albedo, diffuse, color, and then we'll also get the normal map. So I'm going to download that one as well. Get whichever ones you want. Those are the two I'm getting. All right. Let's go back into Unreal. Once you download your texture, make sure you get the albedo and then also get the normal. And so I'm going to open this up. It downloaded to my downloads folder, and there they are. And wow, look at how long the names are. I'm going to shorten the names because that's like way too long. So I'm just going to right click and just say brick. Oops. What just happened? It put the normal map as my background picture. I don't even know how I just did that. Okay, I'm going to right click. Oh, maybe I somehow hit that, set as desktop background, because that's what it is. All right, I'm going to rename it. And I'm going to call it brick_N for normal. And then this other one, the albedo, I'm going to right click it and I'm going to rename it. And I'm going to call it brick_, how about, I don't know, B for my base map. And so I have my normal and I have my base. All right, now I can take both of these and I'm going to just literally from Windows Explorer here, I'm going to hold Control and select the other one. So I've got both of these selected. I'm just going to click them out of Windows Explorer, drag them and drop them into the content browser in Unreal. And there it is. It put them right in there. Now you'll see, and over here it says the normal map was imported as a normal map. And it understood that it was a normal map. So I say, okay. It recognized that. Now, I don't have a material yet for these. And there is a quick, easy way. I don't want you to take the quick, easy way yet. I want you to learn the process first before you learn. The quick, easy way, I'm going to tell you, don't do it yet. But you can just take this brick map and just drag and drop it on there and it'll create a material for you. Let's learn how to hook it up ourselves though. So I need a material. You can tell these are textures because they have the red outline and they have the image on them. This is a material because it has a green line and it has a material ball here. So that's how I know the differences between a texture and a material, okay? Textures go on materials, materials go on surfaces. How about that? Textures go on materials, materials go on surfaces. All right, very good. Let's create another new material. So I'm going to right click and then let's go up here again to material. Let's give it a name. I'm just going to call it brick_matte, short for material. So brick_matte to indicate it's a material. And again, let's double click it to open up the material editor. And I'm going to pull this one down here a little bit. Oh, let's go back to there. I'm going to pull this down a little bit so I can see. Normally I do this with 2 monitors, but you guys can only see my 1 monitor. So, all right. So I have my brick mat here. I'm going to, this time, instead of going to the palette, I'm just going to take this brick material. I'm going to click, drag, and I'm going to drop it here in the material editor, and it creates a texture sample. All right, very good. Let's do the same thing with the normal map. I'm going to click it, drag it, and I'm going to drop it right below the texture sample there. And it creates another texture sample. So, and notice where I placed them. I placed the brick texture close to the base color input, and I placed the normal map close to the normal input slot there. Let's go ahead and hook them up. Click for your RGB channel into the base color input. And then same thing for texture sample. Go to your RGB channel and plug it into the normal input. And then look what happens here. I'm going to expand my little my preview box here. And if you can kind of see it right there where when it's in the glare, when it's in that shiny glare, you can see the normal affecting it and how it looks like it's got some depth to it. What would it look like if I didn't have that? Well, I'm going to, in order to disconnect this connection, if I hold the Alt key and click on it, I can either click on the node or I can click on the little string here. If I hold Alt and click it, then it disables those. And now look at that. It no longer looks bumpy. It looks like a kind of a shiny, flat surface once I disconnected the normal map. So that's what normal maps do, is they help it to look bumpy and gives it a little more realism to it. So I'm going to reconnect that, and I'm going to watch my little material ball here as I do that, and there it's got its bumpiness back. So that's pretty cool. All right, I like that. I'm going to click Save. And once it saves, I'll dock my brick mat up here at the top, go back to my level, and then let's drag and drop whatever yours is. I'm going to do my brick material, click, drag, and just drop it on one of these other objects here. And now I can see, yeah, it looks pretty good. It's got, you know, you can see some shadows on it, and you can see when it's in the darkness there, we can see when it's in the light, how it kind of washes it out a little bit. And so we're not going to worry about those types of issues right now. We're just learning to put textures, to get textures into our content browser and put our textures into a material ball there, into a material. All right, let's play our level. So let's, I'm going to hit play. Let's just go look at these textures and these materials we put on there. So there's my brick material right there. So that looks interesting. You can really see how it looks good right there when it's in the shadow area. And these other areas that are not in the shadow, in the light area. And then over here in the shadow, it's harder to see the three-dimensionality of it when it's in the shadow there. And then where's my purple color thing? Here's my purple color thing. So, all right. So that's how you create materials. That's the easiest thing you can do with the material right there is put a color on it, and put a texture on it. And we added a normal map. So that's pretty cool. All right, any questions about the materials we just added? All right, yeah.
For some reason, when I put a material, like, it doesn't get the color that I wanted, but instead it's orange.
It's orange?
Yeah.
Let me take a quick look. Let's see.
Like, for example, like I put this brick, a color like some like blue gray.
Double click it and open it up. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what your okay, so what is that?
Yeah,
What is that texture?
this is like this texture.
Oh, that's just bricks?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so go back into Unreal. And go back to your level. And click and drag it under this thing. Drag it, drop it. There you go. All right.
It's orange.
It is orange. I'm not sure. That could be the material or the texture itself doing something like that. I'm not sure what's going on. Let me see if I can take a look later. Try a different texture. So at textures.com, remember you get 15 free credits per day. So you can just, if you use all your credits today, don't worry. You wake up tomorrow and download 15 new textures with it. So, all right. So anyway, so this is a really good way to just, build up your texture library and put textures and materials on things that you want to do with that. So, anyway, so that's materials. Any questions about materials? There are a couple things. Let's go back into here. Now, here's something. If you'll look at my brick material here, it's kind of shiny up here. And bricks aren't normally shiny unless they're like wet or something's happened to them, okay? So they're not supposed to be shiny. Well, let's get rid of the shininess because we've actually got this channel called a roughness channel. And we need to put something in that roughness channel to kind of rough up that texture a little bit because bricks do have kind of a rough surface to them. So we're going to put, just like we put that constant 3 vector on our purple color, this time, let's go into our palette. Instead of a constant 3 vector, we're just going to use a constant. It's one channel, so we can input one number. Remember, with constant 3 vector, it allowed us to put 3 channels in there, red, green, and blue. Well, we just need one for the roughness. So I'm going to click and drag the constant and drag it right here next to roughness. See how it's only got one number there? And watch your material ball here when you connect that zero constant to the roughness channel. So keep in mind what we're doing here. It's 0% roughness. How is that going to affect my material? If there's absolutely no roughness whatsoever, look what it did to it. It's like glassy shiny because it just removed any little bit of roughness in there at all. So it's like glassy shiny, okay? Well, I don't know any bricks that look like that, with the exception of, I've seen bricks that look like that when they got water on them and then they froze. And that's kind of a frozen water, ice-covered brick right there, which is actually kind of cool, but that's not the look I'm going for. So I want to take this, I'm going to click on that constant, come over here to the details, and let's change the value. Again, the value goes from 0 to 1, or 0% to 100%. So I'm going to make it like 0.9. That's 90% roughness. Okay, 90%, 0.9 is 90% roughness. And now when you look at this, I don't see any shininess at all on here. And that's pretty much where it should be. And so you could go all the way to 1 and do 100% if you wanted to. It used to be in the old Unreal 4, maybe, I can't remember if it was Unreal 4 or UDK, there were some issues with going all the way to 100%. I'm sure they've been fixed, but now I've just got an old habit of putting 0.9 instead of 1 in there. I'm going to save it, and then I'll go back to third-person map and take a look at my bricks. And yeah, they actually changed just a little bit now that I got that shininess off of them, so they look a little bit more rough on there. So, all right, so anyway, so it's kind of fun to be able to do that. So we took the shininess off and added, I've got 90% roughness in my channel there. All right, very good. Any questions about that? All right, let's move on. The next thing we want to take a look at is, let's take a look at static meshes. And so we've used static meshes from starter content. And here's the props folder. If I go to the props folder, we've used these things. And so if I'm going to put a chair up here on my purple thing. So I'll put a chair up there. We've learned how to add those. And I'm also going to add that couch. Yeah, I'm going to add that couch because that couch, there's something wrong with that couch. You know what, though? I'm going to put it down where my player can interact with it. So I'll put it down here. And I think we've already taken a look at this, but what happens with the couch when I go to play with it and I go to run on the couch, boom, look at that. There's no collision on it, is there? That's not good. My player, that kind of takes you out of the immersion. The idea that my game level is real, or I have that illusion of realness, has just been disrupted because of a lack of collision on an object that I should definitely be colliding with. So how do we add collision? Let's do that. Let's go back into our content browser. I need to find that. And if I don't know that, right now I'm like, well, it was in starter content in the props folder, that's fine. But what if I've got tons of folders and I just want to, quick and easy, how do I get to the couch? If you just simply right-click on the couch and say browse to the asset, browse to asset. You can also put Control B. So browse to asset, and it digs down into those folders for me, and there it is. So I'm going to double-click that couch asset, and it brings it up here, and there's no collision on it. So let's see, number of collision primitives is 0. So it tells me there's no collision on this thing. Let's add collision. Probably the most simple collision we could add to this. Let's go up here to the top. Collision is it's just a box collider that we can wrap around the couch. So let's add our box simplified collision. And you can see that green outline, that is our collision model. So right there, that's our collision model. And so it's wrapped around there. Now it's not very accurate, right? It's almost as if this thing was inside of a box. But let's save it and see how it works in our level. So I'm just going to hit the save button. I'm going to go back into my level. I'm going to hit play, and I want to see how does my player respond to that. Boom. Okay, I want to jump up on it. Oh my goodness, look at that. It looks like I'm floating on air. So it's not really an accurate collision model. We need to do something else to make it more accurate. The player should probably be, that's kind of close right there. I'm standing on that, but over here there's nothing. I'm just until I jump off. So that's a pretty inaccurate collision model. Let's go back into your couch. All right, let's remove that collision model. So I go back up here to collision and say remove collision. All right, let's try something a little more accurate. There's other ones that we could use that are probably a little more accurate. Like I could use this add 2060 OP simplified. I could put that on there. But even that, if you look at it, it goes from here to here. It doesn't get that convex of the chair there. So I'm going to remove that. And here's what we're going to do. This is probably the most accurate, is I'm going to go to collision, and I'm going down here to the bottom where it says auto convex collision. And then over here on the right-hand side, underneath the details, all these options become available to me. Hull count, max hull verts, and then hull precision. I'm going to try it with just the default parameters right now, and I'll just hit apply. And let's see what it does to it. Look at how accurate it got. Look at that. It even carved underneath here and got that convexivity under there and pretty much on there. So that's not bad. So I'm going to save that. Let's go back into file, or not file, I'm sorry. Let's go back into your level and hit play, and let's see how your character responds to that now. All right, so I'm going to jump up there, and look at that. My player, they're pretty much standing on the seat. So I kind of like that. And look at that. They're standing on the handrest, the armrest, right there. I'm standing on the back. That's not bad. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm gonna leave it. So using what we did again was we went to collision, add auto convex collision, and then I just used the default numbers here. Now if we look, the number of collision primitives, there's 4 collision primitives on this thing here. Why would we ever use the box collider as opposed to using this auto convex? It's so much more accurate. What do you guys think? Why would we use a simpler collision model as opposed to this one, which seems to be a little more complex? What would be the benefit to using a box collider? Yeah, performance, right? Yep, performance. Because look how many vertices there are in this collision model. I don't know, there's a lot of them. I don't know if it tells how many there are, but there's a lot of them. And your processor has got to figure out the X, Y, and Z position of each one of those vertices like 60 times a second. That's a lot of calculations, okay? That's a huge number of calculations. So anyway, so this takes a bigger hit on your processor, and if I have a lot of these couches in my level, that's an even bigger hit. So yes, there are reasons when you would want to use more simplified collision models as opposed to one that's more complex like this. All right, the last thing you can do for collision, sorry, I gotta put my glasses on to see this tiny writing. The last thing you can do for collision, if I would like to remove this, I'm going to remove collision, is you can come down here into your, I'm still in the static mesh editor here, and if you scroll down, oops, there is an option to where you can actually use the model itself. Here it is, collision. You can actually use the model itself for the collision model. Okay, so collision complexity. I apologize, I forgot where it is. I think this is it right here. Collision complexity. Use the simple collision as the complex, and create only simple shapes. Use simple shapes for all scene queries and collision tests. Let's click it and see. All right. So I'm using simple collision as complex. I apologize, this may not be the one we need, but let's take a look at it. I'm going to play. Yeah, that wasn't it. Let's go back. And, it's right here, I'm sorry. Complex collision mesh. So you can create your own mesh. I could create a couple boxes in here that are very simple. I would go into Maya and just create a couple boxes that are in this shape and use that as my collision model. Or I can just actually use this couch as the actual collision model. So where it says none here, I'll click on it. And then I'm going to go find my couch. I'll probably just type in the word couch here. And there it is, and I'll click on my couch, and now the couch mesh is my complex collision mesh. So let's save that. Go back into my level and let's hit play. Oh, I forgot to, let's see. Oh, I said use simple collision as complex. Use complex collision as simple. There, see, that's my complex. Oh, look what it did. So I'm actually using the model itself as my collision model. This is going to take the highest hit of all, because look at all those vertices in there. So my collision complexity, I'm using the complex collision, that's the one we put into here, as my simple collision model. So, all right, save it in here. Let's play. It should give me the most accurate collision model of all. Now in this simple level, see there it is, it stopped it. In this simple level right here, yeah, that's pretty good. It's not a big deal because I don't have hardly anything in my level here that's going to hit the processor super hard to make my level bog down. But if I had a large game level and I had all of my objects that they were using their own mesh as the complex collision mesh, my level would start to bog down and it would get really heavy and it'd start to lag, and then it wouldn't be any fun to play. So just be aware of that. So I'm gonna turn that off. I'm gonna say use the project default, and then let's make it again. So I'm gonna go back to collision, auto convex, and just say apply it, and then save. So that's probably the best model with the least hit. It's a good balance. Let's say that. It's a good balance. All right, very nice. And then save. All right, go back into here. And that's how you add collision to your models if they don't come with collision. Okay? That's how you add collision. Questions about that? All right, let's add some more meshes. Let's add some more meshes. All right, man, I haven't saved my level yet. Let's go ahead and save. File, and I'm gonna do a save current level as, and it was 11 a.m. So I'm gonna do _01. I'm gonna save incrementally. Gave me an error message. Failed to load my brick assets. So if I have to reload them, I can, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. XO. All right, so let's add some other assets in here, because currently all we have is what's in this props folder in the starter content. Well, I'd like a wider variety of stuff to deal with, so let's find it. All right, again, make sure you save your level, and let's go back into our launcher. Where's my launcher? There it is. See what I mean? It made the normal map my background. I must have hit that by accident. All right, so I'm going to double click my launcher, and if you'll remember, in the marketplace free stuff, we had a couple free things in there. Let me go look real quick because I forgot the name of it. All right, Loft Office. So I own it. I'm going to grab this, and I'd like to add some of these things into my level. So here's the best way to do that. There's actually a couple ways to do it. So I'm going to go into my library, and I've got to go find Loft Office. Now these are in alphabetical order, so I can just drag down here in my vault. I can go look for the L's. You can see all the free stuff I've downloaded. It's crazy. Loft Office. There it is. Okay, Loft Office right there. Now, look what it says. It says you can add this to the project. Don't do that. Oh my goodness, don't do that. You're like, whoa, what? Why not? Because, let me show you. Add to project. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to do it. Let's see. Yeah, don't add. The reason you don't want to add it to your project is because this Loft Office, it may be like 3 gigs in size, and I don't want to add 3 gig of size to my current level if all I'm going to grab is like a chair and what's in here? If I'm going to grab like a chair and a table and maybe a couple textures, I don't want all of this stuff to go into my level. It'll bloat my level. And what if I was going to add what if I wanted things from like 5 different packages? Are you going to add all 5 different packages to your level? You're going to have like a 20 gig level. It's going to take forever to save, forever to transfer, forever to back up, and that's just not efficient. So anyway, let me show you the best way to do this. Instead of adding to my project, let's go ahead and create, first of all, a blank project. So I'm going to go File, New Project, and it'll be Games. I'm just going to create a blank project, and make sure that you're putting it on your D drive. Let's everybody go to your D drive. Make sure you have a folder in your D drive with your name on it. Okay? Folder on your D drive with your name on it. I've got one right there, my Brad 111 folder. And I'll select that folder, and then the project name, let's give it the name of the package. It was Loft Office. So loft_office. And currently it's blank, so I'm just going to say create. Oh, don't put starter content in there. Uncheck starter content. And then hit the create button. Boom. All right. So it's asking me, do you want to save selected? Because I think it's going to close my current level that I have open. That's fine. Go ahead and save selected. We'll give it a moment. It's opening it up on my other monitor, which is fine. And yeah. It's turning a different color? Okay. Yeah, let me finish what I'm doing here, and then I'll come over and see if I can help you guys figure out why your stuff's turning orange. So, all right, so here's that level. This is my blank, empty level, and that's good. So that's all I wanted to do is just create this Loft Office. Now let's go back into our launcher, and I'm going to add the Loft Office. I'm going to add it to a project, and guess which project I'm going to add it to? That's right, the one I just created. So now it's going to be in its own project. So I'm going to look for Loft Office. There it is. And then I'm going to add to that project. So now I'll have a Loft Office project, and I'm going to migrate things, objects, props, meshes, whatever you want to call them, from this package into my level. And you can see it's taken a while. Let's see how large it is. So it's not quite a gig. It's 0.8 gigabytes. So still, if all I'm going to use is a table and a chair and maybe a couple textures, I don't want 0.8 gig worth of stuff that I'm not going to use in my level. Okay? So that's why we're doing it this way. This is kind of my workaround for doing that. All right, very good. So once it's done that, I'm going to go into my content browser. I'm going to dock it. And let's go look for some of those meshes. So I'm going to click on here, and there they are, meshes. And here's all these meshes. And so I can take a look, and I'm going to pick and choose the ones that I want to put into my level. So I'm just going to grab a couple. So the way we do this is click on one, it'll highlight it, and then hold the control key to add to your selection and click others. So maybe I'll also take, like, I don't know, an office chair. I want a table. Oh, there's a coffee table. And where's another table? Ooh. Let's see. And just pick the ones you want. Oh, there's some blinds. You know what? I'm going to take some blinds for my windows too. there's a kitchen table. Sure, why not? All right. So I've picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've picked 5 items here. Oh, there's the table I was looking for. Right up here. I kind of like that. Oh, and maybe a table lamp. All right, 6, 7. I keep finding things I like. All right, so I've got 7 items. Then you're going to right-click on one of them. Right-click on one of them. And then when it comes up, we're going to choose Asset Actions Migrate. Asset Actions Migrate. Okay? That's how you transfer things. We don't do copy paste because sometimes bad things will happen when you do that. But we're going to do migrate. So right click, Asset Actions, Migrate, and then I'm going to click on Migrate. And it tells me all of the following assets will be migrated to another content folder. And yes, I just say okay to this. I'm going to bring all these things over with it. I'll say okay. And it does it. And it asks me now, where do you want to migrate these to? Well, I want to migrate it to my level that I had. So it's my mine was called my first 11 a.m. level or something like that. I got to go find it now. There's Loft Office. That's not the one I want. So let me try Brad AM, my Brad folder. Yeah, it may be in here. So it was called my first AM project. So find whatever project you opened it in. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to double click that folder. And the trick is that we want to select the content folder. Just click it once to select it because we're selecting the folder. The reason we do this is that when you migrate things, they're in their project in a very specific place so it can find all the meshes, the textures, the materials, everything that comes with it. Okay? And so when I migrate it into my project, I want to migrate it into the same place, into that content folder. So select the content folder and then just say down here, select folder, boom, and it does it. It was really quick. Content migration completed successfully. All right, I kind of like that. So once I'm done, I'm going to go back into my other level. So I'll just go back to, and I don't need this level anymore, at least for the moment. So I'm going to say File. And if I want to leave both of these open at the same time, okay, here's where the trick comes in handy. I'm going to minimize this Loft Office level. And then let me show you a trick for opening up more than one level at the same time. I'm going to go into my D drive, into my Brad folder, and I'm going to go look for that, my first AM project. And if I double click that project, here's the project file right here. And if I double click that, I bypass the launcher. So it doesn't know that it needs to close the project that's open. It'll leave that one open, and I'm going to open this one also. So I'll double click it, and that way both of these projects will be open at the same time. Okay? That's how to open multiple projects at the same time. So, and there it is. You can see both of them now. So I've got, here, I'll put the other one up here. There, I've got this one, and I've got this one. Now, I know you may be tempted to just go, why can't I just click and drag and drop? Just do the migration, because sometimes bad things will happen when you take it and drag and drop from one project into another. So just migrate it. That's why it's there. It's set up for a reason. All right, very good. So I'll minimize my Loft Office. I'm going to maximize this, and I'm going to use that table now. Whoops, it's what happened to my materials? Oh, once again, I forgot. It did open up correctly to my 11 a.m. folder, but remember I did a save as. I saved it as this other name now, and I didn't update my editor startup map. So I gave it an 01. So I'll double click that. There it is. Boom. All right, so I'm just going to add some of that fun stuff into my level. Maybe I'll, let's see. Where did it put it? Let's go find it. So here's that content folder, and look what it did. It put Loft Office. It created a Loft Office folder underneath the content folder, and now I can just go into meshes, and there they are, the ones that I migrated over. So now I can just click and drag, and I'll put in my coffee table, I'll put in my comfy chair, and what else do I want to put? I'll put in a lamp. Well, that lamp is really tiny. Thought it was larger. What else? I'll go in this other room and put some stuff in there. All right, very good. So anyway, that's how you do static meshes. So put a couple chairs in there. Let's see. I will alt drag. Alt drag. Let's rotate these around. And then reposition them. And then maybe I'll put a table in the middle here. I don't know, I'm just kind of goofing off. So, yeah. And then as far as that lamp goes, oh, it said table lamp. I thought it was a like a floor lamp. So, all right. So I need to migrate a floor lamp over because I thought that's what I had. So I'm going to go back into my Loft Office, and since I left it open, I'm just going to go look for table lamp, table lamp. Is there a floor lamp somewhere? Point lamps. Maybe I'll just scale up my my table lamp.
Here's a floor lamp.
Oh yeah, thank you. Floor lamp. So I'll select it. I'm just going to right click, Asset Actions, Migrate, and say OK. And then again choose the content folder and select the folder. And say yes to all. An asset already exists there. It's just using some of the same materials and other things, so I'll just say yes to all. That's fine. And I'll minimize it, go back into here, and it should be in my, there it is, floor lamp. Click, drag. Oh yeah. Put it over here. Hold Alt, drag, put it over there. Nice. So I'm just kind of, building my stuff. Let's go up there and check it out. Oh, wait a minute. All right. So if I just want to sit and think and stare at a wall, I'm going to sit in that chair. And if I want to converse with my friends and have deep conversations, then we'll all come over here and we'll sit in our chairs and think deep thoughts and talk. So, all right. And I can put lights at the ceiling. I can put pictures on the wall. I can do all sorts of stuff here. It's, whatever you can find meshes for. So, all right. Any questions about adding meshes? All right, let's do two more things. We're going to talk a little bit about lights. I know we already talked about lights in here. So I don't have any lights in here. So I'm going to put some lights in here. What letter on the keyboard do I hold in order to click and add a light here to my ceiling? Do you remember? L. So I'm going to hold L and just click on the ceiling. Boom. Creates a light, and if I want to change the color of the light, come over here into the details and go find my color swatch. Boom. And maybe I'll tone it down and make it just a little bit yellowy, like that. That's good. And then I'm gonna copy that, hold the Alt key, and just drag it down to the other end. There we go. That looks good. There's actually some light sconces in the starter pack. starter content. So if I go into starter content, props, here's the lamp wall, I guess is what they're calling it. So I'll put one here, and then hold Alt, and I'll put one here. And maybe I'll put a light in there. So I'm going to L click. Woo. That's like way too bright. I'm going to give it more like an orangey tinge to it. Something like that. Oh yeah. And then, all right, here's like one of the very few times I'm ever going to tell you to turn off your grid snap, or no, let's not even turn off the grid snap. Don't do that. Just click on the 10 next to it and go to 1. No, let's go to 5 first and see if I can just pull it over. Yeah, just a touch right there. Just enough to kind of try and center it. Yeah, that looks good to me. I'm pretty happy with that. It's a little bright, so I'm going to turn down maybe some intensity. It's currently at 8 CD. I'm going to try like maybe 5. That's fine. And then I'm going to copy it over. I'm going to hold the Alt key and copy it over to the other one. Boom. Now there's a red X. Dun dun dun. Oh no, what does the red X mean? So the red X means that I have multiple lights, more lights than it cares, that are overlapping. Okay? I have more lights than it wants that are overlapping. I think you can have 4 lights that are overlapping, and when you create the 5th light, it doesn't like it, and it puts this X on it. What that means is it's a stationary light. I need to make it, do I need to make it static? There we go. I need to make it static. And so you can see now that that X went away and it looks good. In fact, I'm not going to move any of these lights, so I could probably make them all static and just make it happy. So we won't get into like static and dynamic lights right now. But just know that static lights, you can have dozens and dozens of static lights, and it puts like the smallest pull on the processor. If you have stationary lights, it adds to it a little bit more. And if you have movable lights, that puts a huge hit on your processor, because movable lights will create real-time shadows, real-time lighting, and it just puts a huge pull on the processor to have real-time light and shadows. So static is more efficient. You can have a lot more of them. Movable gives you more realism with it. So, all right, I kind of like the lighting I put in there. I'm going to hit play again. Let's see, I'll go up here. And if you're wondering, well, where were those other lights? Well, look, there's a green one and a purple one up there, and they were overlapping. So there they are. So I've got these 2 nice light sconces right there that you can see. I've got some lights up top at the ceiling. I probably should put, like, there's light emanating from there, but there's nothing that's looks like light, where light is coming from. So I probably should put something there. So I got to go find something. I wonder if there's something in that other level. Let me see. In my loft office, is there ceiling lamp? Look at that. Perfect. I want the ceiling lamp. So I'm going to right click, asset actions, migrate, say OK, and then once again choose that content folder, and it migrates. Say yes to all, and it just, look at that, copied successfully. Come down here. I'm going to find out where is that. I'll go back into my loft office meshes. There's my ceiling lamp. Click, drag, and drop. Oh, I like that a lot, actually. All right, that's pretty cool. So And if you need to go to like a top viewport to get it more accurate, you can do that. So right there, I'm going to try and get this so it's like as dead center as possible to my light there. And then while I'm here, I might as well just hold the Alt key and then duplicate that ceiling lamp and put it all the way down on the other side. All right, and then I'm going to go back into my perspective viewport, and I think I'm good. And then I'll hit play again. Awesome. So it's starting to shape up. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me come take a look at it. It doesn't look like the one I did here?
That's where I put the lights and sconces, but like it's like reflecting over the preview. It's not even like saying preview. It's in like reverse, like mirror.
Huh.
Like the light shining through the sconce and just says preview all over the walls.
Oh, build your lighting. Whenever you get the word preview all over, if you go up to build and then just say, you can build lighting only, or you can just say build all. And so what that does is it basically makes your lighting correct, lighting and shadows. So if you get a preview on there, just hit your build button, build all levels. It used to be a button. It's apparently not a button anymore. So that's why I say hit the build button if you're like, that's not a button. It used to be a build, there used to be a build button. Now it's just build all levels. So do that, see if that works. All right, so that's lighting, and then the last thing we want to look at, one more thing, is a light mass importance volume. All right, a light mass importance volume. And what we're going to do is, if you come up here to the plus sign, you see the plus sign up there, I'm going to click on it, and then I will go down to volumes. It's a light mass importance volume. So, and then I get to look down here. They're alphabetical. So light mass importance volume. Let's click on that, and it just creates this. You can see it. It's this yellow orangish outline right here in the center. Now, the light mass importance volume, what it does is it makes the light bounce more on objects that are within it, okay? And so if objects are outside of it, light bounces one time. Light in the real world bounces an infinite number of times, okay? Light from like thousands of years ago is still bouncing around. It's just so low that you can't detect it anymore. And so light bounces around. All right, here it is. We need to surround our level or any area we want the light to be more correct with this light mass importance volume. I prefer to do that if I go into all four of my viewports. For me, it's just easier, especially this top right and back. You know what? I'm gonna go to my layouts. I'm gonna do like this. There I go. And then I can just look at my light mass importance volume, which is this tiny little thing right there. And you can either scale it or you can use your brush settings. I'm just going to increase my brush settings right there. I'm going to increase there. I'm now looking at this over here. I'm going to increase it there. And I'll pull it down until it's surrounding my entire level. I'm looking at it in all my different viewports there, and it is now surrounding my entire level basically, or at least all the parts that I want it to surround. So, and then I'll just go back into here. All right, so that's what it does. And if you ever forget, you can type in Light mass importance volume. Light mass importance volume. And what it does, it controls the area that light mass emits photons in, allowing you to concentrate it only on the area that needs detailed indirect lighting. Areas outside the importance volume get only one bounce of indirect lighting at a lower quality. Again, we're trying to save hits on our processor so that we can keep our frames per second high. So, all right. Any questions about what we did? All right, I'm going to give you guys the rest of the time to, by the way, I recorded this, so, because I knew I was going to give you a lot of information. And if you're like, I can't remember everything you just talked about in the last hour 20, I recorded it. So I'm going to stop the recording now.